When I married David, I thought I had found my forever. We had built our little life together from scratch, filled with laughter, shared dreams, and the kind of small joys that make love feel unshakable. But love, I learned, can crumble quietly. One day he became distant. Late nights, strange excuses, and a coldness I couldn't name began to grow between us. I tried to fix it, to talk, to reconnect, but his eyes had already drifted somewhere else. I didn't know then that the place his heart had wandered to was much closer than I could ever imagine. It happened suddenly. One evening I came home to an empty closet and a letter that barely filled half a page. He was gone. My husband of 6 years had left me. And soon after, the truth hit me like a wave I couldn't escape. He had left me for my own sister, Claire. The betrayal burned deeper than anything I'd ever felt. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. 2 people I loved most had torn my world apart. And I was left standing in the wreckage of everything I thought was real. For weeks I replayed every moment, wondering what I'd missed. Claire had always been charming, the kind of person who turned heads when she walked into a room. But she was also my sister, my confidant. I'd shared my secrets with her, my pain, even my marriage struggles. I had unknowingly handed her the map to destroy me. The world felt smaller and colder. I had to move out of the house we shared because it carried too many ghosts. I started renting a small apartment on the edge of town. Barely enough space to breathe, but it was mine. Slowly I began rebuilding. I worked longer hours, saved every penny, and focused on myself. Therapy helped me find a voice I'd buried for years. The anger that once consumed me began to transform into determination. One day, while scrolling through property listings for work, I saw something that stopped me cold. The house Claire and David had moved into was for sale. It felt like the universe was offering me something. Maybe a test. Maybe redemption. First, I laughed at the idea. Buying that house? Living anywhere near them? It sounded ridiculous. But the thought wouldn't leave me. It whispered to me at night, reminding me that power sometimes comes in quiet, unexpected forms. I reached out to a realtor friend and asked about the property, just to satisfy my curiosity. When she told me the price, I realized that with my savings and a small loan, I could actually afford it. For the first time in a long while, I felt a spark of excitement. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted control, something that had been taken from me. So I did it. The papers were signed, sealed, and filed before they even knew. On the documents, my name sat proudly at the top as the new owner. I didn't tell a soul. Not even my closest friends. I wanted to keep it quiet, to let time reveal the truth in its own perfect moment. A few weeks later, I got a call from the property manager who handled the house. He said the tenants were due for a lease renewal. The words made me pause. The tenants. My husband and my sister. I smiled to myself and simply said I'd handle it personally. When the day came, I arrived early. The house looked exactly as I remembered. Same garden, same porch where David once promised forever. But now it was mine. Every brick, every inch belonged to me. When they arrived holding hands, they froze when they saw me sitting there. Claire's face drained of color. David stuttered something, but I didn't give them the satisfaction of anger. I kept my voice calm, professional, steady. I handed them the lease papers and said I'd taken over the property. The silence that followed was louder than any words could ever be. They didn't know what to say. David tried to mask his discomfort with a forced smile, asking how I'd been, as if our history was nothing but dust. I told them business was fine, that I had made some investments and this house was one of them. I could see the unease growing behind their polite smiles. It wasn't about revenge. It was about balance. Life had spun me in circles, and for once I had steadied my own hand. I signed their lease renewal with quiet satisfaction. Every rent payment they made would now come directly to me. Every month, they would unknowingly contribute to the life I rebuilt from their betrayal. Walking away that day, I didn't feel anger or joy. I felt peace. Sometimes justice doesn't need noise. It just needs patience and timing. As I stood in that empty house, sunlight pouring through the windows, I felt something shift inside me. The silence that once haunted me now felt peaceful, almost sacred. Every wall that once echoed with pain now whispered strength. What began as heartbreak had transformed into something beautiful, freedom. I decided to rent the house to a young couple just starting out, full of hope and laughter. Watching them move in reminded me that love, when honest and pure still exists. I wished them well and left quietly, closing that chapter of my life for good. My husband left me for my sister, but I became their landlord. I didn't win through revenge. I won through resilience. I learned that the greatest power isn't in hurting those who hurt you, but in rebuilding yourself so completely that they no longer have a place in your story. If you've ever been broken, remember this: your pain is not your ending. It's the beginning of your strength. Keep going, keep growing, and one day you'll look back and realize you were never losing, you were becoming. Months passed and I started to thrive. My career took off, I met new people, and for the first time in years I laughed without guilt. I even bought another property, a small one, but it was proof that I was moving forward. As for David and Claire, their relationship began to crack under the same pressure that had once broken mine. Rumors reached me that they were struggling, arguing constantly, barely holding things together. I didn't celebrate it. I just nodded to myself, knowing that life has a way of balancing things on its own. One evening I received notice that they were moving out. They left without a word, leaving the keys in an envelope with their final rent payment. I walked through the empty rooms after they were gone. The house was quiet again, but it didn't feel haunted anymore. Felt like closure. As I stood in that empty house, sunlight pouring through the windows, I felt something shift inside me. The silence that once haunted me now felt peaceful, almost sacred. Every wall that once echoed with pain now whispered strength. What began as heartbreak had transformed into something beautiful: freedom. I decided to rent the house to a young couple just starting out, full of hope and laughter. Watching them move in reminded me that love, when honest and pure, still exists. I wished them well and left quietly, closing that chapter of my life for good. My husband left me for my sister, but I became their landlord. I didn't win through revenge. I won through resilience. I learned that the greatest power isn't in hurting those who hurt you, but in rebuilding yourself so completely that they no longer have a place in your story. If you've ever been broken, remember this: your pain is not your ending. It's the beginning of your strength. Keep going, keep growing, and one day you'll look back and realize you were never losing, you were becoming.